Hello, my country people them. When our countryman, the king of all the black legs, don't come live again for a few minutes. That will be advertised a couple of hours ago. Say I want come live for can talk briefly about this news where the amber fools that is spread on for Facebook say the United Nations body it don't ask the Cameroon government for release Yaounde Cameroon and the Naira 10 from Kondengi. So I decided to come live briefly for can to do my contribution. As now see countryman is there for Canada for hold the Canadian dialogue on a Swiss dialogue where would they are no sabi I dem for Canada so because the amber fools and the amber terrorists they talk say countryman in no fit ever enter Cameroon. Now so they talk say countryman in no fit enter Cameroon. So I know them for Cameroon no I get now my Canadian dialogue. So now hotel the ville that in the distance now hotel the ville that for Canada. Yes, a Canadian dialogue where I did it now so. Now CNPS building this for Canada. Now Fisiano. Yes. Countryman no fit enter Cameroon because say poor beer it go catch me lock am. So I no fit because I don't chop money for poor beer then run. According to the amber terrorists them. Anyways, as I be talk. So the so-called United Nations body. Wait, first of all, make una understand something. As I always tell una, the words the way they use them it matter. Like when the United Nations or the United States Congress, it be right say we are calling on. Say we are calling on the Cameroon government to dialogue with the amber terrorists. Listen to the words because they don't get the power for order Cameroon because one, Cameroon being a sovereign state. Okay? You cannot order Cameroon to do anything. So now why the way they go use words such as we are calling on the Cameroon government to do this and that calling. They like say you call some your party man talk say Bo, Master Dia and Gawe. When the social fight so I beg they pay the picking their school fees. You are calling on. No mean I say you the order. It's not an order. Secondly, the so-called United Nations body, where they talk about, that body does not, make I repeat them, that body does not have the power for force Cameroon government to do anything. Now why don't I hear the words where they use them, they talk say, they ask the Cameroon government, they talk say, according to their assessment, blah 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 blah. That is their assessment. And then again, maybe we also understand this dynamic. If they release the amber terrorists, so-called Yaounde Cameroon and the Naira 10 from Kondengi, they're not going to fear the Cameroon government and they're not going to fear the military. They're going to fear we the blacklegs and the Ambazonia terrorists, where themselves serve. They don't radicalize them, they send them for bush. Now the people in that way, they're going to fear. And also, make una understand, say, now one of the things in this way, people that we talk today, so, why they don't just kill them, put them for firing squad, shoot them for treason. There is an added advantage for keeping them alive. Yesterday, I watched a film. For the third time, I watched The Avengers, Civil War. Now the first time that way for that film, they introduced the Black Panther, King T'Challa and King T'Chaka. And for that film, the protagonist, the enemy, where when I call him for Cameroon, say Chef Bandi, it talk and for they say, if you want to destroy an empire or a revolution or a movement, you destroy them from within. If the movement, a fight against itself and it destroy itself, then it no go ever surface again. It no go ever even attempt. But if a movement or you fight a war or whatever and they be defeated by the enemy and then they go get the incentive even for revive that revolution in the future. Now why that way when I look at the Biafra madness and the Biafra people then where they defeat them since 1970. They woke up now, come back with this hip-hop thing where they call and say indigenous people of Biafra with Nnamdi Kanu. Then they want to bring back that nonsense Biafra because Biafra was defeated in military combat by the Nigerian army. But if you get a situation where Biafra be defeated by Biafra, where it means it been an internal infighting where it defeat themselves, where they destroy themselves from within, it no go ever come back to life. Now, one of the reasons this way when Contraband tell una say, we know they just fight for defeat and Bazuna terrorism today for 2022, but we fight for NAM once and for all. And the best way to achieve that, now when you cause so much division and infighting amongst the terrorists, to the extent where now themselves they go defeat themselves. So now you get a situation where for as long as Ayuk Tabe and the Nera 10 the day alive, the day for prison, it brings about division and a vacuum of leadership. Even Abidjan kill them through enough for result, enough for bring about the creation of the second IG, the third IG, and the 77th IG. Because IG, they plenty now pass even citizens for the country. Now understand. So, now sorry, sir, I guess more cough. So as I be talk, the fantastic thing I say, even if they release Ayuk Tabe today, which there is almost zero, when I say almost, I mean say there is 0.0000001% chance, say they go release him. To achieve what? That's the first thing. Even if they release it today, just imagine, say they release Ayuk Tabe today. What does that cause? It caused a massive level of infighting and division amongst the Amba Fools them. Instantly. You will get people the way they go want for go back, cancel Sako Ekome, cancel Chris Anu, cancel Marianta, cancel Yerima, their IG, for put Ayuk Tabe back at as the so-called president for the Amba terrorists. And those people them, they could get their followers. Ayuk Tabe get his own followers and his own loyal people them. Meanwhile, Sakotu, he get his own followers and his own loyal people them. So what would that give you? An epic battle between the terrorists. Ayuk Tabe for one side, Sako Ekome for the other side. That would be fantastic. That could actually be one of the things the way it accelerate the destruction of Ambazuna terrorists. So, why the people they call me when I did life, Now bear with me, I beg. Sorry, say one or two people they call me when I did life. So as I be talk for destroy your enemy, the best way for do am now for let the enemy destroy himself. So even when they talk about releasing Ayuk Tabe and the Nera 10, that would be the worst nightmare for the Amba terrorists. Imagine the different factions, the way they don't create them. They get small leverage, small power, where they control small donations them. Imagine now if they tell them, say, Ayuk Tabe be released from prison and the Nera 10, and they will come back now for can occupy all those positions them. For can take over power from Chris Anu, from Marianta, from Sako Ekome. What do you think that's going to bring? Serious domo, and that would be fantastic. So now just the small talk that one can talk for now this morning. Say make una know whether they release Ayuk Tabe or they don't release Ayuk Tabe, all the same, it is fantastic for we. It is good news for we black legs. Either way, regardless what will happen. And I don't even want me to release it. The fact that they keep you alive for this many years then, it be enough for cause enough division and infighting amongst them, where it don't make them, they no go ever unite. So thank you plenty. And another thing where I want me to understand as well, I say, no be na Nigerian court, federal court for Nigeria, it be talk say me they, it be order say me they release Nnamdi Kanu. Since how long has it been since they be order say me they release Nnamdi Kanu? When I hear say the Nigerian state authorities they don't release Nnamdi Kanu, it's just a question I'm asking. Oh, Nnamdi Kanu still there for prison. That way they be talk say some court for Nigeria don't talk say me they release Nnamdi Kanu. People they run around they make noise on Facebook, make noise on Facebook. I tell them say okay, we go see whether that one small court for Nigeria it get more power than the interest of all the other Nigerians then. The first Biafra war, where it happened in 1967 to 1970, they killed more than 1 million people in 2.5 years. 1 million people. If Nigeria go to war today, and that was when Nigeria, their population, nobody even reached 100 million people. Today they get 300 and something million people for Nigeria, which means there will be more devastation, more property destroyed, more human casualties. So ma ask me some question. You think say Nigeria be prepared for sacrifice all those millions of people because of the rights of one shit no white blacks called Nnamdi Kanu at the craze? Even if it means say they go against their own constitution, even if it means that they go against their own court and against their own law, so be it. Every country in the world does that. And I don't give una examples them with the example I be giving una about the Japanese internment camps, where they be America they be catch your own citizens them, lock them without a charge of any crime, obviously knowing say these people they be innocent of any crime, but now because say they don't even want for entertain the potential or the idea say this, so maybe one of them or 1% of them, a tiny minority of them, they could be spies for Japan. They catch all them, lock them for years. No mean that say they even catch you so and then they charge you for the crime. No crime, and they know say you know committing no crime. They just catch you, lock them. That's all. They violate their own constitution. Why? Because of national security. That is exactly what it is. So now wait that Cameroon is a sovereign state. Even the United Nations not force Cameroon for do anything. The only way they can do that is put boots on the ground. When you see the United Nations, they start to send army on the ground for go do something. Now the only way that way they feel force their will. For as long as they never reach there. And then make a tell now. Another one now say with it. They arrest Yaounde Cameroon since for January 2018. So the whole of 2018, the whole of 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, wait, don't almost finish with now, almost to December. Don't mean say how many years that? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, now almost 5 years since they catch Yaounde Cameroon and they never turn the lock up. Right? Almost 5 years. Now, where a United Nations body, they ask, as a matter of fact, beg. Say me the Cameroon government, it release them. Okay, now they beg them, say me they release them. And then now if Cameroon government don't release them, how long it will take before they ever shit on again for do something? And they have no power. Maybe assume say they even get the power. And then the power now for do it, for escalate them. How long it will take? Another 5 years, another 10 years. Master, me wanna go find place sleep. So now only the small talk that will be bringing for now. Say if you want to destroy your enemy, you destroy it from within. Now what I want to say and say this, so which way would it do? Causing infighting and division amongst the Amber Fools then is the most fantastic thing where it go end Ambazonia terrorism once and for all. Next time when some person even come up for some burning corner want to talk about Ambazonia or secessionism for Cameroon, it no go need now the Cameroon central government for stop them, for stamp it out. It go need now ordinary Anglophone for tell them to get the hell out and shut up. Because they don't experience them and they don't want no part of it anymore. Thank you plenty in my country for them today. Now number 17 day for November 2022. I thank you when I match fire for share them, whether when I watch them later or when I come watch them. When I watch them live and I match fire for share them. Thank you plenty. I guess more kata. Yeah, ma go take my medication. We'll talk later. Bye bye.